think it's about more the moral posturing than it is about people who actually think this is a major issue.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think people love to be virtuous. They love to be on that side. They love to virtue signal.
How dare you?
Yeah,
it is the how dare you routine.
It's the how dare you with dicks. Or lack of fake dicks. But they don't really have a lot of fake dicks. They don't really go that far. They just sort of take testosterone and see what's up. But it's just... It's a weird facet of our society today that is unexpected. I mean, you go back 20, 30 years and it was an oddity. And, you know, even during the Renee Richards thing, it was more of an oddity than anything.
1,000 years with my wife's medical education to believe that doctors have the capacity to magically change a man into a woman. No.
Maybe it's going to happen one day with like CRISPR or something like that when they start using, you know, genetic, literally genetic editing.
Before birth, maybe. I mean, if you actually edit the chromosomes before birth, but... No, I mean, like, no. If once your genes have been defined, once your chromosomes have been defined, like, this is 5th grade science, people. It's 5th grade science.
What scares the shit out of me is when you hear these stories about people deciding that their child, who's like 8 or 9 years old,
this is effed up beyond belief.
It's scary because,
you know, Cal State LA, where there's a near riot when I speak, or University of Wisconsin, where people storm the stage and stand in front of it and won't leave, or Penn State, where we have, again. Sometimes you get this routine from people who think that they conflate their viewpoint with their identity, and then if you have a different viewpoint, you're denying them their humanity. And it's like, no, I'm not denying you. I just think what you're saying is dumb. Like,
that's a very good point. That's a very good point, is that they have their identity completely connected with their ideology. Well, there's the really bizarre statement that I've heard over and over again, that black people cannot be racist against white people because they don't have any power over white people.
Yes.
Wow. Which is just...
It's inane. I mean, it's an inane statement. This idea that you have to have power in the superstructure in order for you to even be racist. I could understand the argument if they said, look, you being racist is not connected to racist action. If you don't have the capacity for action that affects people, then your personal racism is not as important as the racism of people in power. That at least is an argument. Right. But the idea that you can't be racist at all if you're black because black people don't have enough power, first of all, the NCAA. Like, I mean, you've said that we can't have separate male and female bathrooms where biological males play and, you know, where biological males go to one bathroom and biological females go to another. So why do you have separate divisions? Why do you have an NCAA women's division and an NCAA men's division?
Yeah, where does this go?
I mean, eventually...
How does this boil down?
I mean, eventually it goes to one place or another. Like, either we just say, this is a step too far, give me a break. You know, science says no. Or we say, anyone can be anything at any time. A man is a woman, and a woman is a man, and, you know, and just pick.
That's my point, that you write about, you know, Judeo-Christian culture and so on, but so much of what you've said in the past would seem to turn its back on Judeo-Christian culture.
You're lecturing me on Judeo-Christian culture after you call the pro-life position barbaric?
I just asked you a question.
And I asked you a question. You failed to answer a single one of mine. Frankly, I find this whole thing a waste of time. If you want to read the book and critique the book, why don't you read and critique the book? If you want to critique me, you can think whatever you want of me.
Why don't you
frankly,
just try and
I don't care. I don't frankly give a damn what you think of me since I've never heard of you.
And I've never heard of you until I briefed myself for this. But that's not the issue. You have a
then
new
why the hell
book
are you
out,
interviewing
and
me,
it's an interesting book. But my point is, your book claims that society...
Well, it'd be nice if you would quote it from time to time.
Your book is... Well, actually, I've done so several times, and I'm about to do so again, if you would let me just finish the question. Your book claims that society is turning its back on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah,
what are those values? What are the values it's turning its back on?
I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer. So I think we're done here. I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and for showing that anger is not part of American political discourse. Now, Mr. Shapiro, we'll say goodbye.
Apologies that we haven't got much time left, but Paul, watching that, has something happened to the level of political debate?
Why is it that a bill banning abortions after a woman has been pregnant for 6 weeks is not a return to the Dark Ages? What's your answer?
My answer is something called science. Human life exists at conception. It ought to be protected. Now, back to my question to you. You purport to be why don't you just say that you're on the left? Is this so hard for you? Why can't you just be honest? Seriously, it's a serious question.
Mr. Shapiro, if you only knew how ridiculous that statement is, you wouldn't have said it.
there's not a lot of guys like you out there, which is really interesting. It's like you're a fast-thinking, fast-talking, very smart young guy who's also a conservative. Like, there's not a lot of This is the problem. You're not dealing with honest people. When people try to categorize you as alt-right, or they're trying to put you into this category of internet goon, they're quote tweet, just taking some little tiny phrase that you said 7 years ago and trying to say, this is you now. That's such a disingenuous thing to do. I don't think you're an asshole, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're a very nice guy. You're just conservative.
That's the dirty little secret, though.
Yeah.
Right? We're not supposed to talk about that.
But this is one of the things that bothers me so much about you being so misrepresented. When I read things about you, there was the article that we were just talking about, the alt-right sage without the rage, they called you, and you're not even remotely alt-right. In fact, and finding anything to categorize them as someone who's a viable target. And this is what I've seen thrust your way.
Nothing ever gets cleansed. Or opportunity number 3 is you do what Barack Obama did, which is you come out preemptively and you try to remember all the bad stuff you do, and then you confess it in public. So in Dreams from My Father, he says, right, when I was back in high school, did a little blow.